So, welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, a show where I bring you champion, thought leaders, influencer leaders, and people who actually have great knowledge to share, but also great experiences to share, and people who are called greatness engineering greatness in their communities, in their countries, and wherever it matters. And today I have another champion, a young entrepreneur, consultant, award-winning speaker, and somebody who is actually have a great influence in the youth. And really doing a lot of work on youth entrepreneurship and employability, and that's the subject of our discussion today. My guest is young, energetic, and you have the opportunity, I think, to be inspired by him and really get to learn the reality of young entrepreneur and young graduate who are looking for jobs in Africa and the challenges and opportunity that exist there. So don't go anywhere. I will bring the champion with me. But please don't forget to have your pen, your paper, your notebook, whatever, because I really want you to get to take notes and understand what's going on in Africa as far as employment and entrepreneurship is concerned, and get the opportunity to help as well and be part of the conversation, and hopefully get in contact later on if you need to have more information from my guest today. So don't go anywhere. We're gonna start this amazing conversation and learn a little bit more what's going on for the youth in entrepreneurship in Africa. So let's start the show.
Right? On memories. But as I got older, I started to be more aware of some of the abusive sides of
So hello. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show, Javnyuy. Welcome, and it's a great pleasure to have you today to know what's going on in Cameroon and in Africa, especially as far as the youth is concerned, how they are all doing, and hopefully there are lots of good news that you're bringing with you. So before we start, our conversation on youth entrepreneurship and employability in Africa, which is one of your, expertise. Can you just introduce yourself and let us know who you are, and let us know a little bit about, how you travel to get to where you are right now and doing what you're doing?
Okay. Hi, Mirel, and hi to the followers of the Greatness Engineering Show. And it's so exciting to to be here. I've always followed the show as much as I can with amazing guests. I always wonder, how do you get these amazing people? And it's really so good to be here to share my experience and my expertise. So, and uh, I am a trainer and consultant and a keynote speaker in a couple of things, but my specialty revolves around enterprise development, corporate efficiency, employee essential skills, and youth essential skills, then youth entrepreneurship across the African continent. And this is actually my ninth year of doing this. And when I get to say this, like, at what age did you start? So I actually started
Exactly.
this at the age of 22 when I resigned from my first job, and I got that job while I was still in university. It was a finance job in microfinance. And after about 1 year, 2 months, I think, and I resigned to set up my training center called the Center for
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurship, Leadership, and Business Management Development Africa. So it's a 9-year-old training center where we focus um, on two major things: providing enterprise development skills to young Africans and employability skills. And we have done this in 18 African countries and looking forward to scale into more countries. And how far I have come, it's just been God's faithfulness and hard work and commitment and the people that God brings into my life. And I always like to remind myself that I did not get to where I am because of my intelligence or my hard work. There's always that God's grace. There's always the support system that God brings in terms of partners, stakeholders, good friends, and people who believe in your vision. Yeah, and it has not been easy, definitely, but it has definitely been
Mm-hmm.
fun. And if you give me a second chance, I will still make the same decision.
Okay, that's because that's something that especially knowing the African in a lot of African countries, and especially in Francophone Africa,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is not really a strong a strong thing. It's very challenging. People are more geared to work for government, and
Mm-hmm.
the structure are not always established, and
Yeah, to
and
support them.
it's
Yeah.
it's very difficult. So that's why I wanted to ask you, what are the key challenges that you think you have, I mean, you've been doing this for 9 years. So what are the key things that you had to face, and what are you still facing right now, and how do you go about addressing it?
Um, when it comes to entrepreneurship in Cameroon and Africa, there are a couple of things that we young people get to face as challenges. And I think that one of the major things many of us grew up knowing that the best thing that can happen to you is for you to get a matricle and work with the government and or get a
Mm-hmm.
job and work with the company. We didn't grow up with that mindset of creating. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
talking with a friend yesterday, and I was like, the number of entrepreneurship seminars we see now in Cameroon and other African countries, it was not the same in 2012
Mm-hmm.
when we started doing this entrepreneurship stuff. There's a big difference, a big gap, and it has really grown. And the second thing is it's still part of the culture, but that support system whereby when you choose entrepreneurship, it's like you have chosen the wrong path of life. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's unheard of for example for me when I resigned from my job at that young age, which was a good job in the finance sector to say I want to be a teacher. That's why they called me a teacher, they say. And and people could not understand. My family could not understand. My mom could not understand. My close friends did not totally understand what I was doing. And they definitely pulled me back and so on and so forth. And another thing now comes to government policies. And in government policies, I always say that these policies are actually there, which are good, but the challenge is implementation. Youth entrepreneurship to grow sustainably or grow effectively in a way that can cause the change that young people would like to see. You tend to struggle to get government attention. You tend to struggle to get certain authorizations or documentations, or you want to start up a business and maybe just to get the right documentation, you need to go through a lot of bribery and corruption before you get the right documentation, or the sluggish nature of civil servants and some of these offices. All of these definitely challenges. And then the last part, the last big challenge is the skill set. It is now that, or in a couple of years, that like the last 2 years, that um, centers that focus, or institutions that focus on entrepreneurship and enterprise development skills have really been there. And it is just of recent that some universities have added entrepreneurship into their curriculum. In 2013 and 14, I was lecturing in two universities, and I was lecturing in the Faculty of Business Management, and we did not have entrepreneurship as a course that
Wow.
we could teach to the students. So it's just a few years back. Same in high school under the department of what they call commercial studies. There's a whole commercial studies, but entrepreneurship is not as a course. It's not as a subject. So it's just about 2-3 years back that it was added as a subject. So when you leave the university and want to start a business, you may have the knowledge of what a business is, but really getting the business done is the challenge. But as entrepreneurs, it is our role, I would say it's our role to face on these challenges, and we are able to put the government on their toes to start making changes and making decisions that can favor us as entrepreneurs in Africa. And I think it has really happened a lot in the last couple of 2-3 years, where there are a lot of changes with the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises. You hear some nations creating the Ministry of Innovation. You hear nations creating posts for chief innovation officers. You hear nations now creating incubators, government incubators. A lot is really changing, but definitely much can still be done. It's changing, but at a slow pace, based on how the business
Exactly.
ecosystem is changing so fast. Yeah.
And that's a shame because and I hope that, and that's one thing that I hope the pandemic is gonna help speed up,
Uh,
because we just
yeah.
realized that we're so exposed, because we didn't develop enough, especially in Africa, and especially I would say West Africa and Francophone Africa. We didn't develop enough entrepreneurs. So we
Yeah.
are exposed now because we are isolated. We don't have those small, businesses that can sustain the economy, and it becomes very difficult to really even make a baby step, and that's
Yeah.
really the problem. So I mean, obviously there's all those all those hurdles, all those obstacles, but people like you don't give up, and just wanted to understand exactly, as part of your work, what do you do
Yeah.
exactly to help this process and really push for entrepreneurship to be recognized to the level that it should, in Africa, and especially to create those opportunities for the youth, because a
Yeah.
lot, the employment rate is just so high, and we need to find, you need to find a solution, and the
Yeah.
population is young as well. So what is your contribution on that?
Um, I think that my work in the area of entrepreneurship has uh, put me in a spot whereby I can really speak and influence some policies. It could be in national business forums or entrepreneurship forums, or meetings of some key stakeholders. And I have always been really very intentional at what I say and how there can be this close collaboration between the various agencies and ministries that can really push for a close collaboration with these young entrepreneurs. And definitely, I believe that one of the greatest ways that we can bring out this change is bottom up, whereby if the young people are being empowered, that's why the work that we do at the Center for Entrepreneurship, Leadership and Business Management Development, I really think is very important. And we really work with these young entrepreneurs, those who want to start, or those who have started, or those who are in the informal sector and need to come to the formal sector and do business right. We continuously work with them, and that way there's always that positive effect that position them in a way that they can contribute to the national economy. And I do we do a lot in writing a lot of papers and collaborating with other agencies that are paying close attention to the business index situation in Cameroon, or how business is being done, and the challenges that businesses are going through. And this is a continuous process. It's a continuous, as I said, the ecosystem is changing faster than the actions that we need from both the government stakeholders and international agencies and any other person that is a key stakeholder in making the decisions happen. But as I always say, no matter how hard that we work as entrepreneurs, if the government does not step in and do the right thing, we will always meet the ceiling. You're always going to meet that ceiling. Because sometimes I'm one of those who don't believe in blaming the government for everything. But yes, it's true. But then no, there's a way that you work hard, you just go and end, because there's a way a policy just hold you, there's nothing you can do. Or there's a way that there are certain things that are just beyond your control. Are just beyond your control, that there's nothing you can do about it. You just made that strong ceiling, and there's no way beyond that ceiling. And and we keep on talking. There are many people that are very vocal about it. I always say that we should keep on driving these conversations, because when we drive these conversations, these stakeholders get informed. They know what is happening, and because sometimes we may assume that they know, but they don't know. They don't know what is happening at the grassroots. I have had a couple of situations where I do an entrepreneurship program, and I get to bring in a senior official or a delegate from the Ministry of Trade or Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, and it's actually maybe their first time to be in that kind of an event, and they get to hear certain complaints from SMEs firsthand in that particular place. So I encourage that instead of complaining, we should drive conversations that can position us to hold the government accountable and remind them and keep telling them of what they should do. And if possible, show them how to do it. Because there are some things that they don't know how to do it. It is based on our experience on how the marketplace works, on how the ecosystem works, on how the challenges that SMEs go through, that we can recommend to them. This is what you should do. This is how you should do it, and this is how you can use us in the marketplace to get this done.
And exactly, and I agree with you. There's an education, there's an education part as well, because sometimes they don't know it. When you don't know, you will take the wrong decision. So you need to have everything, and it's a collaboration effort, because you come as the entrepreneur, but you can't expect somebody who is not in your shoe to actually see things the same way that you see them. So you have to come, like you said, with all the information, and make sure that you communicate with them, and then negotiate to see what's good, not only for you but also for the government, because there's quite a lot of things that actually come into play in all of this. And I like what you said, is that we can't just always hold the government accountable all the time. It comes as well with us. It starts with us, and that's where the education system is very important, because you need to get people, especially the youth, to have the right mindset. And this mindset is actually what's killing a lot of countries in Africa, because the youth comes with the wrong mindset. And in some country, I've lived in some countries where it's just, people are just, it's an entitlement. It's just, okay, I went to school, they have to give me a job. No, it's not. It's not like that. You can create something. You can and after school, you don't know everything, so you still have to have this mindset of, yes, I'm gonna learn, and it's a long-term thing, and I really have to be creative, innovative, and start to think that any problem that I face start with me. I have to start to see at my level what I can do, and then after that, look outside. So we're going to have a short break, and we're going to continue this conversation, because it's quite an important conversation for, like I was saying, for the youth in Africa, because I think 60% of the population is young, and we're also facing a leadership problem, because the leadership at the top is very old, in most countries. So there's this gap, which is sometimes very difficult to manage, because the communication is not the same. So we'll come back and talk about it, and really, dig a little bit into. For people joining us, my guest today is Javnyuy Joybert. He's based in Cameroon, and he's a speaker, consultant, entrepreneur, and is really is influencing the ecosystem, the market in Africa, and really advocating for youth entrepreneurship and unemployability. So don't leave us. We're just going to take a small break and come back to continue our conversation. So we are back. We are back with Javi, and we got to continue our conversation on youth entrepreneurship and employability. And one question that I have is, yes, we're talking about the challenges, we're talking about all the obstacles, but are there any opportunity? Where do you see the opportunities actually for the youth as far as entrepreneurship is concerned and employability?
I think somebody said Africa is the future, and I don't disagree. The enormous challenges that the continent goes through, those are where the opportunities are found. Because how do you build a thriving business? You build a thriving business when there is a need for people to go through. When you look at healthcare, education, agriculture, technology, fashion, entertainment, there's a whole gap everywhere that you can build something and build a good business. When I talk to job seekers, it could be a job seeking forum or maybe a business forum for those who want to start businesses, I always use a funny sentence. There are so many problems around you, so many problems in Africa. Pick one and start solving and make some money. It's the challenge is that it's always that willingness to start and maybe putting in the work and seeing that it can happen. But trust me, there are so many opportunities. That's why there are young people that in the same continent whereby people are complaining about challenges and difficulties, there are still some young people making it big in the same continent who have never traveled around the continent, and they're making good money and employing tens and hundreds of people. So the challenge comes back to the mindset, to the skill set, and to that determination that they need to play their role and contribute to what they do. Like as you said, one of the amazing things that COVID-19 did to Africa, it's amazing because it exposed our weaknesses, it exposed opportunities, it exposed I wrote a paper and I said that it exposed the poor leadership of our government much better. Because year in year out they keep claiming how the budget has gone into technology infrastructure, has gone into healthcare, budget has gone into this, but COVID-19 was proof that that was not happening. And it was also proof that there are still so many problems that people can
Mm-hmm.
build amazing businesses around these problems. You see, for example, I was talking to a friend, and he's been thinking of what he can do in the education sector as far as
Mm-hmm.
Africa is concerned. And as COVID-19 came, he decided that, oh, you know what, I'm going to create a training institute that is going to focus just on digital literacy and teaching professionals on how to use digital tools.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing well with that. That's an opportunity. It could be poor processing of food. It could be poor access to markets by farmers. It could be um, 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 transportation. It could be logistics. It could be delivery services. It could be, there are so many opportunities available. It's just for us to make the decision and commit ourselves. And I always say that um, to succeed in Africa, and we need to see it as somebody who is bringing enormous contribution to the amazing continents that needs your contribution to shine.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
that way you put in your effort to put in the work beyond the money you want to make. That at that point when the money is not coming, you keep on going because you know that I
Mm-hmm.
have to contribute something. I have to solve a problem, and I have to perfect this business model until it's perfect and it's able to solve the problem and make money.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's sometimes what people don't understand is that entrepreneurship, it's about solving problems. So if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, find a problem
Yeah,
somewhere. And I think there's so many problems in Africa.
so
So
many of
that's
them.
obviously the place to be, because you
Mhm.
have plenty of opportunity to solve problems. and
Yeah.
and I think that's again go back to how our education system is training people,
Mhm.
is training them for being employees. So they're
Yeah.
looking at a position somewhere, but they don't
Mhm.
think about, okay, I have this problem, let's look at what I can do, and on top
Yeah.
of that monetize, and really start something. I mean,
Mhm.
I've seen people starting
Yeah.
businesses
Yeah.
using those used tires, and then start to make bags,
Yeah.
and all kind of things. It's like, wow. And
House
yeah, and people
accessories.
will just leave those tires just there, and they just and they're making money with that, and all kind of
Yeah.
different things. The creativity is really something very important. And
Mhm.
now we also have the digital. And I think a lot of the youth actually don't think that the internet, Facebook or whatever, can be
Yeah.
used for business. They use it just
Absolutely.
for social
Mhm.
activities, and then
Yeah.
they get frustrated. Yes, you have this power, this thing which is free, and you
Mhm.
can use it. It can be your office basically. So,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
that's I think again the problem of the mindset. And that's why my
Mhm.
next question is about, because you training and you speaking as well. So what do you do to try to change this mindset, especially you're in contact with a lot of people that actually gonna they want to be into the entrepreneurship
Mhm.
arena, and also get jobs. So what do you
Yeah.
do concretely to help them to shift, and understand exactly what we've just discussed right now?
Yeah. I I think that what we do over the years have always continued to evolve based on the experiences we have and the data we have from the field. And we try to be as agile as possible. It could be organizing a mass conference. It could be organizing a workshop. It could be organizing mentorship programs. It could be um, doing proper training or doing long-term trainings. Whatever we can do based on the target market that we are looking at, and we try to be very, very dynamic because various sets of people come with different challenges. They come with a different kind of mindset. Somebody who wants to start a business has a different mindset. Somebody who has already started and needs to scale has a different mindset, and somebody who's already making maybe $500,000 in annual sales need a different mindset to do that. And we do our best to develop tools and to develop the training systems that push them in this direction. And over the years, we have seen incredible incredible feedback. And I would like to talk about one of the amazing models that we use, which is definitely what we adapted from my role model, Fred Swanika. He's a founder of African Leadership University, and his concept is that they don't train their students for the job; they train them for a mission. So the concept is simple. When you come to the school, you pick a mission. You don't pick a course per se. You don't pick a program. Maybe you come and they say, okay, you're passionate about reducing poverty in rural areas. That's a mission. When you pick that mission, the school, maybe you collaborate with the school, equip you for that mission. Maybe you hate climate change. Your mission is that you want to help combat climate change. That is your mission. You now pick programs that will empower you for that. Maybe your mission is you want to use technology to increase access to education in rural areas. You now pick a mission. That way, young people are leaving the training center, they're leaving that university with that mindset of achieving that mission, not the mindset of getting a job. And we have seen it work amazingly. And that is why, let's say we want to have, because we do a short program, we don't do long diploma programs or degree programs. We can design a program around communication. And when people are applying, we ask them to give us what is the reason, why do they want to go to this program, and what is the one thing they want to achieve in their business when they are done with this course. When they give us these missions, we now tailor our training model around these missions that these executives or entrepreneurs have given us. And we have always seen quick changes and quick results, and definitely more excitement and more love for what they do. Yeah.
And it's very original, very authentic, and because you have to be to like and be passionate about what you do. So picking your own mission is actually good because you're picking something that you're passionate about, something that you really want to see happening. So it
Yeah,
gives you all the energy and the focus. And
absolutely.
and actually, like you said, I'm very happy to hear that because I've actually never heard about something like that, especially in some of the countries in Africa. So that's the program must be doing well because I think that's what needed actually
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
to a lot of countries right now in Africa where you look at, because the mission is obviously going to be linked to a problem that the
Absolutely.
person is facing. So you basically targeting your own country and solving
Yeah.
problems for your own country instead of having some going and study something that are actually nothing to
Before you are
do
looking
with.
for what to do with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's very original. And one thing that I wanted to know is, obviously you've started everything in Cameroon. Now you expanding to other countries. How do you see the cultural side of thing playing in in people mindset and how people develop, especially as far as entrepreneurship is concerned?
Yeah.
Because from what I see that the eastern part, they look like a little bit more
Yeah.
entrepreneurial, and then there are
Yeah.
certain area where you see, you're like, no, that's not good. Is
Yeah.
it something that you see as well and that you can link with the cultural background?
Yeah, absolutely. There's always that strong link based on how we grew up and how we looked at things, and our level of exposure or the things that we have access to that define us how we see entrepreneurship. I would like to use the power of culture and that in with a simple explanation. Like in the West, Americans build for the global market. back here we built our small towns and small communities and so on, because they grew up with that global mindset, and we grew up with that mindset or attitude of timidity and fear and being in our little corner and just seeing how we can get a job and build a house, get a car, get married, and leave. So, but when you look at West Africa, like Nigeria, Ghana, especially in West Africa, go to East Africa, you look at Kenya, Ethiopia, and other countries, even the Southern Africa. So some of these countries are definitely more advanced when it comes to the startup ecosystem. When I think Lagos and Johannesburg have the most valued startup ecosystem across the continent, with a lot of innovations and amazing young people bubbling with great ideas. And how they grew up and how they look at things and the level of exposure to innovation, to new things, and maybe definitely access to personal development. I was reading a paper and they were talking about the power of conferences and workshops, how it contributed to the growth of Nigeria, Ghana, and other advanced countries, because these are nations that they started leveraging on the power of personal development and workshops and professional development more than many other African countries, especially French-speaking African countries. And it positions their young people to be really exposed and to stretch their minds in different levels and challenge their old ways of thinking and open their minds to creation and contribution, and not just consumption and wishing that this is how the government should be doing things.
Yeah. And that's very true, because I mean, when I look at the way I was educated, and then the way my children are educated, having they've been essentially in an English speaking type of environment. It's totally different. They really start to, like you said, to expose them very early. At age 10 they do presentations, they do project, it's different. And then age 10 I was not doing all of this, and then some of the children still back
at 20,
home, they're not doing that. Yes, they're still repeating things, and and it's not helping. So you can imagine, if they start at 10, now 20, I mean, they're completely independent. They try all kind of things, and they're not scared. And that's really the difficult part. And we know that entrepreneurship is really what's going to make Africa thrive.
Absolutely.
And we really have to push for it and start at a very young age, because that's the important part. So we're gonna have another break, and we will come back and talk about talk about a little bit more on how you've traveled and have been your challenges and where you're going so far. The future project that you have. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back pretty soon.
All right.
Providing sustainable jobs to young women and men is a sure way of ending extreme poverty by 2030, as aspired by the SDG 1. There is huge potential in agriculture, and it has often been touted as a backbone of development for many countries in Africa. Yet, the sector needs transformation. It requires investment into critical infrastructure, as well as changes in the land tenure system in our communities to enable young women and men have access to land for productive purposes. Particularly for youth access to jobs, 3 critical issues need to be addressed. 1, access to finance is crucial for employment in agriculture and other sectors. We need to develop youth-friendly policies and financial systems that will provide flexible and timely access to credit, particularly to SMEs. 2, there is a mismatch between education and the needs of the market. There is therefore the need for investment in training and skills development for young women and men, and particularly for young girls, in order that the knowledge and skills gained will be in tune with market needs. Sustainable jobs cannot exist without being inclusive. Structural and cultural barriers that militate against the realization of the fullest potentials of young women and men need to be addressed. Tapping into the relatively unused potentials of young women and men has benefit for themselves, their communities, and the companies in which they work.
What do you think is the main barrier for young men and women in finding a better job in Africa?
Yeah, so we are back. We are back with Javier, and we really, I love the conversation because we talking about the youth entrepreneurship and employability, and we've had, so I mean, we had a lot of insight from you. And one thing that I wanted to ask, because we started to talk about education, and I think in the video the woman was also talking about the mismatch between the need that are existing in the market and the education system. And I think you've started to allude to it. So how do you think it can be I think addressed and in a way, and there's also, she mentioned as well, the access to finance, access to capital. And we know that it's a key problem in some countries in Africa, where some of the banks are actually even not functional at all. So what are the different options for young entrepreneurs to be able to access some capital to start something?
Yeah, I think talking about a skill mismatch, from our experience, because the main company that we have is COSDEF Group Limited. That's the name of my company. And under that, we have a couple of subsidiaries, like the training center. We have a recruitment firm, and we provide corporate training and consulting. So we are like at the center of it all. So we provide recruitment services for companies, and we also organize job fairs and training for job seekers. And we really know that serious challenge of skills mismatch, whereby like presently there are a couple of positions we want to fill for some of our clients, and it's so hard to actually get the right talent that can do that. And the challenge is not that we don't have graduates. We do have them, but the challenge is, are they qualified enough? Are they employable enough to fill these positions? And then going back to our school structures, there's a lot of improvement, but I also think that a lot of collaboration between marketplace key stakeholders need to be done efficiently. If the governments keep sitting in their offices and working just with professors to decide how the course structure should look like and the content should look like, there will always be that mismatch. Like that's why I always say that if you read marketing in the university and you come out of the university and you're not able to get a job, then there is something wrong that they did not teach you.
Because you teach marketing.
because there is somebody in the marketplace who did not read marketing and is doing so well, better than you. You see, and there are a lot of changes that are happening as far as the marketplace is concerned. Like, you see a marketing graduate who left school just about last year, and they don't know what digital marketing is and search engine optimization is. That is something that social media has been on the beats in Africa since 2013 and 14 and right now. So normally, a sound education system should have included social media marketing, digital marketing, search engine optimization, and all of these things into the marketing curriculum. But even if a marketing professor cannot do social media marketing, how can they recommend the curriculum to be updated to have social media marketing. So how can they do that? They need to start working with stakeholders in the marketplace that are very, very open to the real needs of the marketplace. And you can go same to accountancy, to business administration, you can go to journalism and mass communication and many other things. You will see that there are those important skills that are really such hot cake right now in the marketplace that somebody still left the university last year, 2019, and they don't have those things. And these things are so relevant as at 2014. So there's still that gap. And then definitely that's where the need for training centers come in, like what we do under the under the Ministry of Vocational Training. What we do is falls under accelerated training program. So what we do is we find these gaps. We pick whether you read marketing, like the people who read accounting, they don't know the tax code in Cameroon, how it looks like. We organize a training for accountants which who are just leaving school to understand the tax code in Cameroon and how to declare taxes. That way we certify them and we give them hands-on skills that are able to get the job done. It could be marketing, it could be administration, it could be office management, it could be whatever thing that we see that gap that you left school without having, we try to close that gap. And for these gaps to really be closed, it is time for the Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Vocational Trainings, and any other ministry to always come down to the field. Always call these people that can recommend that, this is what the marketplace needs now. Like for example, I was talking with a friend few days back, and I was saying that if I were the Minister of Higher Education right now, as a result of COVID-19, I would recommend 2 new programs to be added either at the undergraduate or graduate level. I would recommend adaptability and I would recommend virtual team collaboration. But the sad thing is that students will still leave school this year and they don't understand what virtual team collaboration is. They will not understand what virtual tools are. They will not understand how to adapt in the midst of chaos and crisis. So until we start being really, really practical, we'll still keep talking about these gaps in 2030, 2035. And the future of work is coming faster than we expected. I believe that COVID-19, there are some things we expected to be happening in Africa in 2025. Because of COVID-19, they happened in 2020. So the future of what we used to talk about and read as if is something that will come from heaven and fall on us. It's already here with us. And if care is not taken, the gap of unemployment will continue to grow wide, and companies will continue finding it very difficult to get the right talent. Now, we work with a couple of clients, and there were some employees that when they were forced to work from home in Cameroon, and we had clients in Uganda, we had clients in Tanzania, they totally had, basically, we had one of our clients that they stopped working fully for 3 days because when workers stayed home, nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew which tool to use and which tool to work with team except talking on WhatsApp. How do you?
And that's the thing. Why don't they use WhatsApp for work?
in this century, I was talking to one of my clients. I was like, in this century, you no longer deal with emails back and forth. You're working on a Microsoft Word document, you're dealing with an email back and forth to correct. Use something, use Google Docs, use something and work on the same document at the same time and get this done. And he was like, what's that? You see? So it's they said, what do you mean? I said, in December, we were doing corporate training on team collaboration. And exactly 4 months later, that is how fast change is happening. And a lot of this needs total attention. I always contribute to this as
Okay, so we're losing okay, you're back. Your internet was a bit slow. You were cutting a little bit. Hello? So so there's quite okay, so that's the connection in Cameroon. So we gotta come back. I'll just have a small break to give Javier the time to reconnect, and we'll be back pretty soon. Don't go anywhere.
So have you ever, read a Bible story that stuck out to you that you could relate to and you said, oh my gosh, I understand, that's my life? Have you ever read a character in the Bible that stuck out?
Introducing the visionaries and co-authors of this phenomenal project. Elder Tommy and Evangelist Rosalind Willis, Barbara Fields, Christine Green, Mirielle Tulakima, Brenda Flores Robles, Dr. Charmaine Powell, Lakeisha Port, Terrence Lee, Minister Sean Saxton, Elder Tommy Willis, Dr. India White, Evangelist Keisha Snowden, Leon Fields, Evangelist Rosalind Willis, Pastor Erica Fulton, Missionary Tanika Thomas, Dr. Leah Renning, Barbara Slater, Cherish Jackson,
Prophetess Jennifer Gibbons,
and Dr. Betty Speaks.
So we are back. We are back. Yeah, the connection was a bit slow. So we are back talking about youth entrepreneurship and employability. And my question was about the mismatch between the education system and also understand a little bit what are the financial challenges for youth to get capital to start their ventures. So I'll let you continue then.
Okay, I think I was about to jump into the finance issue, and it's always a very, very big topic when it comes to entrepreneurship in Africa and business. And yes, the financial challenge could be an issue depending on a lot of things. I don't just go straight when it comes to finance and agree that there's a financial challenge, because when you talk, we will basis, and there are some things that you that the money is not there, or that you do not look. There are many things that play in financial challenge thing when it comes to investments and getting partners that can invest in your idea. And before talking about raising money, we ask a couple of things, because sometimes I would like to ask the first question: how much have you invested in your own idea? Because I don't believe that you need money to start a business. I believe you need money to grow a business. And how do you expect somebody to put in $1,000 in an idea when you don't have even $100? It's not possible. So we need to always, as entrepreneurs, we need to be able to do our best to start something. Don't just sit and complain that there's nobody to give me money to make my idea work. You see, how much work have you done to make that idea work? And I bet you from my experience, a serious entrepreneur, always have a way to start the idea. My philosophy is simple: start small, learn fast, and grow fast. There's always that part to start small. And when I ask you that, I now ask the second question: how many paying customers do you have? How much money have you made? Because an investor is seeking for a way that they can make money, per se. So they cannot invest in an idea when they are not sure of how they're going to get back their money. And you cannot go and you're not able to give your investor the right statistics or the right numbers that can confirm to them that you know what they're doing. And definitely that's where traction comes in. That's where you start talking about the market viability of your idea. And the third thing that I always like to ask is, are you fundable? Are you worth funding? Are you worth funding? Because sometimes you see entrepreneurs complain about, oh, nobody's giving me money, nobody's giving money and this and this. When you start asking the right question, they don't give you answers. Without asking them, okay, how many units did you sell last year? How much did you make as total sales? How much do you project to sell in 2 months, in 3 months? What's your plan of scaling? What is your marketing strategy? How do you distribute? When you start asking these deep questions, they don't give you concrete answers. But then they complain that nobody is trusting them to give them money. So, and meanwhile, there are still entrepreneurs. I always say that entrepreneurs who are still able to raise a lot of money for their startups. Guys are still able to raise $1 million for their businesses, $500,000, and they are doing so well. The challenge is entrepreneurs need to know, no investor just gives you money like that. It's a whole process. It's a whole credible process that you need to go through, because it's a serious partnership, because nobody likes to lose money. So nobody just gives you money because you have an innovative idea. That's why I always say that in Africa, even in other continents, it takes more than a good idea and money to build a business. And unfortunately, many of our young entrepreneurs always lack the other things that make them to build a good business. They're always like, oh, I have this amazing idea. This idea can change the world. That's good. What next? What next? You see, what have you done with it? Where's the traction? Do you have the skills to make it work? And skill set is one of the biggest challenges that is killing many entrepreneurs. I always say that as an entrepreneur, if you don't know how to raise money, if you don't have investment for your money, for your startup, it means you don't have the skill to raise money. Go and acquire skills to raise money. To raise money is a skill. It's a process that you need to master. You need to know how to build relationships. You need to know how to do research and find angel investors. You need to know how to build business systems that makes investors like you. You need to know how to do presentations to an investor and make them believe in your idea and believe in you. When you lack these basic skills, you will never raise money. Except somebody will look at it and pity your hard work and say, you know what, let me just help you to get this over with. So it is so my belief is that the challenge of money issues in Africa is two ways. And I think that the bigger part of the challenge is on us, the entrepreneurs. We are not doing many things right. Because the money is out there. People have money to give out. The good news, one of the amazing good news that came to the entrepreneurship ecosystem is these people, they call them angel investors. Is these guys, they call them venture capitalists. And the thing is that they keep on increasing every day. There are people who have made up their mind that, you know what, for us to be sustainable, we need to start investing in young ideas. That when they have the money, they have the funds, and they come to people, they're not able to do that. Like one of the services we provide is investment advisory. There are Cameroonians, the diaspora that want to invest back at home. And it could be $1,000. $1,000 is a lot of money for startups here. $10,000. These guys have money from what they have done, from their work and day jobs and so on. And when they come to us, or maybe a young guy goes to them and say, hey, maybe because our entrepreneurs now are so good at looking at guys in the diaspora and telling them what they're doing and how they can come in terms of financial partnership. They always tell us, okay, go talk to this entrepreneur, see if it's worth the investment. When you start talking to them, they are so superficial, they are so shallow, they don't have the income and expenditure statement. They don't have these basic systems that makes up a good business structure. And you don't expect me to go and tell the guy, the potential investor, that you are good for investment. When you do that and come back to me, I'll go tell them that you're ready for investment. And the sad thing is that when you tell them that, they take about 6 months to 1 year, they never come back to you. Because
they want it quickly.
Again, it takes more than an idea and money to start a business. The real hard work is in the business systems. The real hard work is in the market research. The real hard work is in going to customers and talking to them and getting data. The real hard work is building a team. And these are the things that qualifies you to actually raise money from family, from friends, and from Cameroonians who are in the diaspora, or Nigerians in the diaspora, and other African countries.
So I have quite a lot of comment today, just now, suddenly. So there's Loretta. She's asking, what do you think most business startup don't implement customer segments? And so that's one of the questions. I don't know if you want to address that.
Yes. All right. Let me react to that then. Hi, Loretta. Loretta is a good friend. And yeah, I think the challenge is the hard work part again. Apart from just having an idea, put the idea down and go to the field. I always use a funny saying that a startup entrepreneur is not supposed to have an office with an AC. Be on the field. Go to the street. Talk to people. When many of them come to you, I always give them a challenge. Until you talk to 250 people in your target market, don't come to me for anything. And sometimes when they talk to people, they go and redesign their product or their service without coming back because they have seen the real thing. You don't sit in your sitting room with your laptop and you design a business. It's guesswork. So the challenge, based on her question, the challenge is the laziness to go on the streets. Is a laziness to create a survey and talk to people, more from office to office, home to home, and ascertain that this problem actually exists and that the business idea is viable. You see, that's why I always say, like in technology, that's why somebody sits at home and develop an app and nobody downloads the app and they come to me and like, my app, nobody's downloading. I'm like, why should they download their app? Why should they get your app? You see, because you start in your room and you're a software engineer, you develop an app and you expect that when you put on Facebook, people are just going to jump and download. Yes, they will celebrate it, but they will not download. Because there's no connection. There's no pain point being solved. There's no value that they actually find in what you have done. But when you talk to them, they're able to understand this is what they need. This is how they need it. And this is when they need it. And this is how I should project what I have created for them.
And sometimes we forget that we're so passionate about the product or the service that we offer, we forget to actually test the product and understand what is the problem that this product or this service is solving. If it's not solving anything, nobody needs it. There's no market. And I think it's important to know that. And a lot of us, we just, a lot of people go, it's just the passion, or they just want to have money, and it becomes very, very difficult to understand. So she has another question here. What should be the economic policy for supporting the development of entrepreneurship and innovation? So that's one of the question as well.
Yeah. To me, my point of view in this area is that the government needs to close the gap with entrepreneurship stakeholders. Like, for example, there are many business accelerators functioning in Cameroon that the Ministry of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise has no idea. And same in other countries that we have worked with. There are many ministries of trade or commerce, or how they call it in those countries, don't have that close collaboration with the real stakeholders who are making things happen. Secondly, there are amazing youth entrepreneurship associations and organizations who are organizing entrepreneurship seminars and business workshops like practically every weekend. And these are guys that are driving the ecosystem practically in the field. And for this policy to be done right, I think that the government, through the Ministry of Trade, Commerce, and SMEs, needs to start sitting down with these people, need to start collaborating with these people. Like, for example, a, a government agency or a ministry will sit in a capital city. It could be Yaoundé, it could be Abuja, it could be whichever capital city, and they design an entrepreneurship event or concept from their ministry and bring it to a town or to a city to force it on the young entrepreneurs. Like, for example, I have a practical example. There was this government event that was done, and it was done, I think, exactly 2 weeks after I had an event on, I think it was Business Success Summit. And that event, I had more than 200 entrepreneurs, and we had to stop accepting applications. And 2 weeks after, I was asked to be a keynote speaker in a business forum, a national business forum, and they pushed so hard to get entrepreneurs from all 10 regions to come. And in that business forum, they barely had 30 entrepreneurs.
Wow.
So they now came to me and asked, so why didn't your people show up? And I made a funny slang. I said, they don't trust you. And the government officials were like, what do you mean? I said, yes, they don't trust you. If I go and if another youth leader or entrepreneur or a speaker organizes the same youth entrepreneurship forum, more young people will attend than maybe when the government calls for it. Because, sorry to say, but that is it, because what the government has projected is bribery, is corruption, is sluggishness, is always, not doing it right the way they want to see. But when they come to these incubators give them with respect. They pay attention to them, they talk to them, they understand their needs and challenges. And even with their limited resources, they do their part to serve these young entrepreneurs. So I think the first step for the government doing this, the government should close the gap first. Start working with the people who are causing the change in the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And then when we sit together as politicians and key players, we will design policies that will both serve the state and serve the entrepreneurs.
Yeah, because you want a win-win situation. So you have to have everybody together, communicate, and design something that's going to help everybody. And that's key, because otherwise it's really difficult. It's really difficult. So few comments. So there's Liliane from Switzerland. Liliane, she also have a show. So she's I surely need you for my live stream show. So you're gonna have an invitation pretty soon. And I have another question here. As a young entrepreneur, what are the requirements to starting a successful business? So I mean, we've talked about it, the whole thing. But if you want to address it quickly, that's another question for you.
In this particular area, I always like to advise people to look deep within themselves too, because passion plays a big role in entrepreneurship. As I always say, in entrepreneurship, passion keeps you going when the money is not coming. And secondly, skill sets. I always say that it is very easy to have an idea. It's very easy. Your neighbor complains about something that's a business idea. Your colleague complains about something that's a business idea. But skill set, the ability to communicate, to talk to people, the skill of resilience, the skill of marketing and sales, and that's one thing. If you cannot do sales, you cannot do marketing, go get a job. Entrepreneurship is not for you. That's one thing. We should stop. As I always say, as a startup entrepreneur, you need to be on the streets where the money is found. Money is not found in offices. As simple as that. Because one big challenge that I've noticed with entrepreneurs is that they don't know how to sell or project what they do in terms of product or services. And definitely, resilience is a very key thing as far as starting a business is concerned. And make sure that you're a technician. What do I mean? As an entrepreneur, have the technical skills that, whether it could be, we used to design your product, you used to serve your customers, and then the soft skills definitely that makes you a complete entrepreneur. And don't give up because it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy.
And that's the
Yeah,
thing, and that's what Liliane is saying is that mostly in Africa, you need the right mindset to be successful entrepreneur. The skills are there, but the mindset is a huge hindrance. And I
yeah,
agree with her. It's really about the mindset, and
yeah.
I mean, we have the skills. People have, they know a lot of things, but it's really the mindset. Go with the right
Yeah,
mindset and come back.
absolutely.
So that's a key thing. And
Yeah.
so we're going to take another last question, just again from Loretta. How does the social insurance system and the tax burden of economic activity affect entrepreneurship and innovation? So it's probably going to be, it's going to depend on countries. But do
Yeah.
any countries that actually have, especially in Africa, that actually have a very good system for young entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think Mauritius, Ireland, I think Rwanda, they have very good tax systems for young entrepreneurs. And I think countries even like Cameroon, they have been trying so hard to see how they can modify the tax system to be able to favor SMEs and so on. Because you, as she said, definitely the heavy taxes on a business that is still starting can definitely kill the business, because as a startup entrepreneur, you are always on the other side of not having innovative, not having enough resources that can make you to build a good business. And and I think one thing that I've also learned is that many entrepreneurs need to have access to tax information, because some of the things is that they sit and just assume that taxes are high, and they may not know that there are new tax regimes or new tax resources that have been made by the government, or maybe after a parliamentary session, that favors entrepreneurs, and they can um, definitely push that. And secondly, the tax system is one of the most corrupt systems in many African countries. And many tax officials are able to do that because when they come in front of entrepreneurs and they start talking, we are just afraid and shaken. We just pay any amount they pay. Like I was talking to
Exactly.
one entrepreneur one time, and he was paying import and export taxes when he's not importing and exporting anything. He's
Whoa.
just a local entrepreneur. You see, so we need to know our kind of business, where our business falls under the tax regime, and we know how to stand up to these people, because they will come and intimidate you. They have done that to me, that they will keep on doing that. But when they see that you know your thing and you know your information, they will stop coming to you, and make sure you respect and pay your tax on time, definitely. And definitely, most I think access to information, know the tax situation, tax regime, for your business, where your business is, and what you should be paying. And and we keep lobbying. I think one amazing thing is that many entrepreneurship associations across countries keep lobbying for favorable tax conditions for young SMEs, which can enable them to focus on building their business.
So key things really, it's and that I took from what you said. The marketing part is important, and a lot of sometimes a lot of entrepreneur back home don't really take it seriously. There's also we need to understand the key financial, at least some basic financial education is important to understand, how to run a company, whether the revenues, your balance sheet, and understand really the numbers, because that's very important. And the one that I like is that we shouldn't be sitting in an office with the aircon. You have to be on the street where the money is, and that's very important. And understand the tax system. That's another one that come across, which is linked obviously to the financial part. So I hope, Mr. Edison, you got the answer to your question. We're gonna be ready to close out. And it has been amazing. Thank you so much for your knowledge. And I knew that it was going to be very, very informative and high level information. And thanks a lot for all the work that you're doing, for the young entrepreneur, because like I said, Africa is young. 60% of the population is young. So it's about time to really get the focus on this part of the population and make sure, they get to participate in the economy and help, the economy of Africa thrive, because a lot of them are talented, but then they need the support, they need the right skills to be able to create something with the ideas that they have, with the knowledge that they have, and make sure that it's adapted and solving problems, the local problems that exist, instead of, having all those, certificate or diploma and doctorate, and not, being able to use that to help their country, or even to earn some money, some decent money for them
Absolutely.
and for their families. So it's been really great. But before we leave the platform, I really wanted to ask you, what is the message that you want to leave the audience with? Because that's also an important thing that I want the audience to have.
I think that there's a lot of talk about COVID-19, which has affected the business ecosystem, and it has brought a lot of chaos and stress and anxiety and fear about the future. And my one word so far since it all started has been adaptability. Adapt as much as you can and learn as much as you can. And I strongly believe in the always having the right mindset, because building a business takes a lot. Building a successful career in any field takes a lot, and your mindset or your level of mental intelligence comes in handy, because it's going to keep you focused and keep you dedicated towards that journey that you have chosen. And definitely skill sets come in. My advice is always, if you want to go to the next level, acquire the skills the next level requires. And definitely we are going to get there. Thank you so much.
That's fantastic. It's been really good, and I don't think the audience is going to contradict me. We learned so much from the VS today, and I understand now why people are calling you, Mr. Remarkable, because it's been really remarkable today to get all this information and understand the ins and outs of youth entrepreneurship and employability. And so for people who want to connect with you, how do they do that if they want to continue the conversation? And I know Liliane she will be connecting with you pretty soon, so that you can also have, the opportunity to talk to our audience. So there's the website that I have here. So that's his website. So you can have a look at, and know what is doing fantastic work as far as I know. And there's the LinkedIn as well. You can connect with him on LinkedIn, and obviously Facebook is also one area. And really, Mr. Somebody remind us, Mr. Remarkable. So it's been remarkable today for us, and it's been really great. And thank you very much for your time. I know it's not always easy to take, an hour plus out of your agenda, especially as an entrepreneur, and have you sit in an office instead of being, on the street doing your business. So that's good. So thank you very much, and thank you for everybody who's been, participating and tuning. It's been a great show. And tomorrow I will be back. We're going to India, and we're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence, and all the digital, with a gentleman, a very talented young gentleman as well from India. So come and join me tomorrow. And for today is bye-bye. And I wish you to have a great, great end of your day and a great weekend. Take care, and God bless you.
God bless you too.
Bye.